Hello friends, how you doing? Day 476. How are you doing? It is Tuesday night. I'm coming in. I want to share with you a food storage tip. And it's a concept called produce tenting. And so what that does is it actually helps you keep your produce fresher longer in the fridge. And so if you kind of think of it as a little terrarium, if you will, for your produce. And what it does is it maximizes the freshness of your produce and the shelf life of your produce. And so, what are some of the key points here? Number one, what I usually do, I just cut off the ends of the usually it's greens, right, and then I put it into a cup, but you can put it into any type of container. Fill it about a few inches up from the stalk of whatever it is. Will it be celery, shards, cilantro? It can be herbs, right? A lot of things. And what the water does is it provides moisture that that the produce needs to stay fresh longer. Okay, and of course hydrate. And then, but the key thing is afterwards, what you need to do is cover it with a plastic bag. And so why? What does that do? It doesn't have to be a plastic bag, but that's what I use. A protective bag of some sort. What it does is the reason why your produce actually wilt is because the moisture loss in the fridge is what actually causes your produce to actually wilt. So when you put a protective bag on top of it, what it does, it prevents moisture loss, okay, from the actual fridge. And one of the key points of having it this way as well is when you put it out and out of the crisper, one of the things is, number one, you see it. So if you see it, you're actually probably going to use it before it goes bad. Like for myself, I'm a single guy and I usually cook pretty big portions. However, sometimes I don't get to some of my produce, and so I remember it used to wilt pretty fast, and I was like, I gotta use this up. And then when I saw this technique, I was like, it's so good. The first one I tried on was on cilantro because I love cilantro or parsley, either way, but it wilts so fast. And so I tried this technique. Oh my gosh, it stayed fresh and crisp for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks, my friends. Holy smokes. And I was like, wow. And what surprises me is some of my friends didn't know it. Like, I was telling my friend Erin, and she's a home ec teacher. I'm like, you don't know this? I'm like, what? And then my friend Nisa yesterday, I showed her how to do it because she had a bunch of cilantro left over after our meal. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Home cooked Mexican food, yum. And she didn't know this technique either. And so I share with her, and hopefully she uses it so that it's an amazing technique, and it's so simple. I'll show you in a second a visual of it, but I just made some notes here. So what type of produce actually works best for tenting? Typically fresh leafy herbs, right, like cilantro, parsley, right, but apparently not basil. Sturdy veggies like asparagus, I do that too as well. Asparagus, celery, carrots, green onions, radishes, okay, and hardy greens like chard, collard greens, beet stems, but apparently not lettuce or tender greens. And so, again, so what I usually do, I usually cut the bottom, especially, again, I start off with cilantro. You cut the bottom of it, of the cilantro, whatever produce, right? Just like a little bit, maybe an inch, half an inch, a couple centimeters, right? And then that way, it's kind of like flowers, if you will, right? Typically, you have to cut the bottom of the flower on a slant for flowers, not produce, so that the moisture can actually get in, right? You want, what do you call it? Newly cut, if you will, okay? And again, you can use a vase. I just use a coffee mug, really. It's very simple, right? Just put a bag over the top. It can be a bread bag even, or a reusable silicone bag. Again, you can try different things, see what works. Okay, so here's a couple notes for sturdy veggies or leafy greens, right? You want to change the water more frequently. For example, every 3 days or so. And if you're storing radishes or carrots with their greens attached, try to eat or remove the greens within 3 to 4 days for maximum nutrition. Okay, so it may still look good, but if you want like the most nutrients, finish within a few days. Okay, and also leaving the leaves intact for longer actually makes let's see here, makes the root veggie lose flavor and nutrients. Wow. Okay. And so radishes you can store on the side in a bowl or dish instead of a jar. And when storing leafy greens, make sure only the stems are in the water, and the leaves are not. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly show you how I do it. Again, very simple. Anybody can do. Okay, so I have some celery here. Okay, all I did, yeah, I've eaten most of it, but I just cut the bottom of it. Okay, I put it into some water. I don't know if you can see the water in there, but you know, like a couple inches of water. Put the celery in there. It could be cilantro, carrots, whatever. And then this is just a coffee mug. And then you just put a protective bag over top, just like that. And then put it into the fridge. That's it, my friends. Right? So usually I have a ton of veggies. I gotta go do a grocery run tomorrow. But a lot of times when I put it in here, excuse me, allergies are hitting me. Usually when I put my veggies in here, I tend to forget sometimes what I have and what I need to put. So when I have it out here, I'll have like 2 or 3 different cups with like celery, cilantro, carrots, right? It just maximizes the taste and keeps it fresh longer. That's all it does. And so that's my food storage tip. For those of you who eat lots of veggies and maybe you don't get to it in time, again, we all want fresh veggies when we eat or when we cook. And so that's one really effective way to keep it fresh longer. So if anyone tries it, please shoot a comment, a note in the comments, and let me know how it worked out. When I first tried it, I was just like blown away. Because, yeah, the cilantro, usually 3 days, wilt. Looks like crap. And when I first tried it, actually, it has started wilting already. And then I actually put it into the cup and put the bag over it, and it actually revived it. So even if you've got some wilted greens, try using the produce tenting. It might actually bring it back to life. Okay, folks, hopefully that tip helps you. And again, if you try it and it works, please put it in the comments. And if you have any other tips, I'd love to hear. All right, friends, have a good night.